Today's show is brought to you by Audible.com. You can get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial by heading over to audibletrial.com/WTS Sports Quiz. I'm working through the book You Can't Make This Up by Al Michaels. And you got that, of course, by going to audibletrial.com/WTS Sports Quiz. You can get access to over 180 titles to choose from on your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Sign up today.
Broadcasting from the Attention Era Media Studios in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, this is What's the Score? The Sports News Quiz. I'm your game master, Josh Scheibe, the man who, in trying to think of a good NFL playoffs joke for today's show, could only come up with one thing: the Minnesota Vikings. And now, here's the host of What's the Score, Baxter Colburn!
Yes, I applaud you, Josh. Thank you so much for that. Oh, my goodness. Hello, everybody. Today is our 50th show. Can you believe it, Game Master Scheibe?
No.
Good, okay. Josh is like, I still don't know why I'm here, but he keeps asking me back. But we celebrated our one-year anniversary a couple weeks ago. Now we hit another big milestone. Our show continues to grow like crazy, and it's all thanks to you, the listeners. Mm-hmm. So we very much appreciate that. If you'd like to join and be a part of sports history, why not swing over to our website, WTSSportsQuiz.com, and click on a Become a Contestant button today.
You can also find the show on demand on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and on our website, WTSSportsQuiz.com.
Let's meet our panelists this week. First up, he is a sports journalist, a Yooper, and a former all-conference lineman at Wisconsin Lutheran College. It's Ian DeMarse.
Thanks, Baxter and Josh. Good to be back. Happy birthday to Philadelphia Eagles, Jason Peters.
Oh, Jason Peters, a very famous Peters person. Who is he? What is he like?
Offensive line.
Oh, good for him. You got to shout out to the offensive lineman,
exactly.
I guess. I love it. Next up, he's a former Packers beat writer, an officially retired pro wrestler, a fantasy football guru, and the co-host of the Kielbasa Kings Sports Extravaganza Weekly podcast. It's Scott Wisniewski.
Hey, thank you very much. Hey, it's our 50th show. It's the NFL playoffs. Mike Singletary wore number 50 for the Chicago Bears and has a Super Bowl ring to show for.
Boom, I love it. All right, and finally, from the Big 920 WOKY in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, he's also the PA announcer of Marquette University and the Lakeshore Chinooks. It's Dan Pfeifer.
One of my favorite topics, the NFL playoffs, but I'll tell you what, these are two of the competitors that I have already lost to on this show quite handily to a couple of different times. So I feel like third place might be in the cards for me today.
We calculated it, Dan. We actually have been calling Mitch Vomhoff the wrong thing. We've been calling him Mr. Second Place. You actually have the record for the most second place finishes on What's the Score. So I guess we'll applaud that. But there's a combined 18 wins between the three of you as well, too. So 18 of the 50 episodes have been won by you three gentlemen. So
congrats, guys. We're pretty good.
You did something right, guys.
Hopefully it lives up to the hype now.
Hopefully, now that we've hyped you guys all up, it's kind of like the Super Bowl. We're hyping you guys up. Let's see if both of you actually, all three of you do something, or if you just shy away from a stray fumble. Like, I don't want to hurt myself. Anyway.
It's time to get this show on the road with our first contestant game. Joining us on the phone to play playoff-sized records is Johnny Lehman. Welcome to the show, Johnny.
Hey. Thank you, guys.
All right,
it's a pleasure to be on it.
We're glad to have you on, Johnny. As you know, the 2016 playoffs are nearly done, meaning that another batch of stats and records are also wrapping up. Today, we thought we'd look back at some of the best playoff records for players and teams.
In this game, which we're calling playoff-sized records, you must answer at least 3 out of 5 questions correctly. Do that, and you'll win What's the Score prize. If you get stuck on a question, you are allowed to ask one of our panelists for a hint, but on only one question, so make sure you choose wisely. Are you ready to play?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, here's your first question. Which team has had the most playoff wins in NFL history? Is it A, the Dallas Cowboys, B, the New England Patriots, or C, the Green Bay Packers?
Ooh. That's tough. I know Green Bay tied the record for most playoff appearances. What? Playoff wins?
Playoff wins, yep.
I think I'm going to go with Dallas on this one.
That is correct, the Dallas Cowboys. 34 wins for the Dallas Cowboys. All right, here is your next one, sir.
Which quarterback has the highest rating of any player in playoff history? Is it A, Bart Starr, B, Joe Montana, or C, Aaron Rodgers?
Bart Starr for the win.
That is correct. Yes, Bart Starr. 104.8 for a quarterback rating. That's unbelievable. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, Joe Montana. There's been a lot of great quarterbacks. I'm surprised Tom Brady's not on this list either. But some classic quarterbacks on there, to say the least.
You forget how good Bart Starr was for those Packers teams. 2 teams that won 3 straight NFL championships. That's 6 titles under Starr's realm there. He was just so talented for that team.
That's unbelievable.
And remember, he called his own plays, too.
Did he really?
Yes, that was before offensive coordinators did it. It was the quarterback who called his own plays.
Maybe that's why he had so much success. He's like, I'm going to run the plays I know work, honestly. All right, here is your next one. Who has the most sacks in playoff history? Is it A, Terrell Suggs, B, Reggie White, or C, Willie McGinest?
Ooh. That is a really tough question.
It is. You can ask for a hint if you want to.
I was going to say, I think I'm going to go with my hint for this one.
Okay, do you want to talk to Scott, Dan, or Ian?
I'm putting my faith in Ian.
All right, Ian, how can you help out Johnny?
Okay, so my hint will be that this player did not play for either the Ravens or the Packers.
So it's got to be...
Say that again?
What was option C?
Option C was Willie McGinest.
It's got to be Willie McGinest.
That is correct then, yes. Nicely done. 16 sacks in the postseason. Unbelievable. It's just kind of crazy to think about that. Did you guys know that Clay Matthews actually is in the top 5 for this as well, too? I don't know the official number, but top 5. That's pretty crazy.
Well, and keep in mind, sacks has only been kept as an official stat, Scott, going back to what, like 1970 something?
Yeah,
something
mid-70s.
like that.
And the other thing to keep in mind is like some of those Pittsburgh Steelers teams, they didn't have the extra round of playoffs. So
right.
Yeah.
True.
More games nowadays, more chance for sacks.
That is also true. All right, here is your next one, Johnny.
Which NFL game had more penalties than any other game? Was it A, Arizona versus Minnesota in 1998, B, Oakland versus Houston in 1980, or C, the Los Angeles Raiders versus Denver in 1983?
I don't know why, but for some reason the Los Angeles Raiders one is popping into my head, so I'm going to go with that one.
You're correct on that one. Nicely done. 17 penalties in that game. Absolutely incredible.
Gee, what a surprise. A game involving the Raiders having a ton of penalties.
Right?
We're all
Yeah,
stunned.
exactly.
They had, 20-some
Yeah, they had
penalties?
23 earlier this year, and they still won.
They still won. I don't understand how. Now, maybe their life is going to change when they go to Vegas. You never know in the coming years or when they make that final move. All right, here is your final question. Which NFL playoff game, including both teams, had the most fumbles ever with 12? Was it A, Houston versus Pittsburgh back in 1978, B, Houston versus Kansas City in 1993, or C, the Bears versus the Giants back in 1948?
Ooh,
12 fumbles, my gosh.
that's a lot of fumbles.
It is.
Okay, what was options A and B again?
Option A was Houston versus Pittsburgh back in 1978, or B was Houston versus Kansas City back in 1993.
Got that common thread of Houston in both of those answers. I'm going to go with A.
That is correct. Nicely done. Houston versus Pittsburgh, 1978. 12 total fumbles.
12 total fumbles is embarrassing, but it doesn't beat the one butt fumble by Mark Sanchez for the Jets.
The butt fumble, I mean, it keeps getting brought up, though. I mean, is it 12 fumbles, though? I feel like that's got to be worse than a butt fumble,
It was
though.
the not top 10 play I think it was like over a year that was the not top 10 play.
So this begs the advanced analytics question. How many regular fumbles equals one butt fumble in the grand scheme?
I feel like, 5 or 6 would equal one butt fumble?
Maybe, but they did score a touchdown on the butt fumble, so that brings in probably 6 fumbles because of the
True,
points,
that
or
does
7 because
also,
of the
'cause you
extra.
gave up the
I'm
points.
sure we'll see that up on the screen during one of these NFL games at some point.
Exactly. Game Master Scheibe, how did Johnny do on our game?
Johnny got 5 out of 5,
Oh,
a perfect
Hey,
score. He's
wow.
a winner.
Way to lead off the show. Congratulations, Johnny. Thanks so much for playing, sir.
And we're about to head to our first break, but before we do, I want to note that Ian gets an additional panelist point.
Way to go, Ian.
Yippee!
Starting off the show strong. Got to get that early advantage over Scott and Dan.
And we are heading to our first break, but when we come back, our panelists will have their first crack at showcasing their knowledge of the NFL playoffs. Don't go away. You're listening to What's the Score? The Sports News Quiz.
Playoffs! So you're sitting at home probably right now thinking, hey, you know what? What's the Score? Sounds like a really fun show. I'm really enjoying my time listening. But you know what you're not doing? You're not signing up to be a contestant, and we want you to do that. Go to our website, WTSSportsQuiz.com, and click on the contact form, or fill out the contestant form on the front page of the website, or go visit us on Facebook, What's the Score, the Sports News Quiz, or on Twitter, at WTS Sports Quiz, and click on one of the social media posts that have Be a Contestant. You could win a great prize. You get to talk to Game Master Scheibe. You get to talk to me. You just get to have sports news quiz fun at the highest level. It seems like a pretty obvious thing, so why are you still listening? Go do that right now. Go be a contestant on What's the Score. We need you. But seriously, though, thank you. I appreciate it.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to What's the Score, the Sports News Quiz. I'm your game master, Josh Scheibe. This week, our panelists are Ian DeMarse, Scott Wisniewski, and Dan Pfeifer. And now, here's your host at the Attention Era Media Studios in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Baxter Colburn.
Thanks, Josh. Thanks, everyone. Time now for our panelists to showcase their knowledge about the NFL playoffs. All right, Ian, we will start with you, sir. Which running back holds the NFL record for the most rushing touchdowns in playoff history? Was it A, Terrell Davis, B, Franco Harris, or C, Emmitt Smith?
That's a tough one.
Indeed. Three very talented running backs, to say the least, out of all those three.
I'm going to go on a limb and say Emmitt Smith.
That is correct. Nicely done. Emmitt Smith, 19 rushing playoff touchdowns. Franco Harris, 16. Terrell Davis, 12. But, it all came in the 90s there for Emmitt Smith, basically, when the Cowboys were just steamrolling over everybody. And rightfully so, I guess. 19. That's kind of crazy to think about, honestly.
All right, Dan, the next one's for you. Which quarterback has the NFL record for most game-winning drives in the playoffs? Is it A, John Elway, B, Tom Brady, or C, Eli Manning?
Game-winning drives in the playoffs.
That's what we said.
A lot of the time, the Patriots have already been up in games, so I'm leaning away from Brady. Eli Manning was another choice. What was the third choice?
John Elway was the third.
Elway. Well, goodness knows, John Elway had some legendary comeback drives, but did not win any Super Bowls. It seems like an odd choice because of how much he's struggled, but I'm going to go with Eli Manning.
That is incorrect. No. Tom Brady. 9. He's got 9 game-winning drives in the playoffs.
His first Super Bowl was a game-winning drive.
Yeah, very true.
He had a couple of them.
Yeah.
Elway had 6. Manning had 5 in terms
9
of the
for Brady.
9 game-winning game-winning drives. Yeah, and that's the thing. I think it started with the famous tuck rule.
How many of those had deflated footballs? I don't know how many of those.
And we checked the stats. I have a little asterisk next to my 9 here, so I'm not exactly sure how many of those actually count. All right, Scott, last run here goes for you. There really isn't a question of which one of these players holds the record for the most receiving touchdowns in the playoffs, but there's still debate, I guess, to an extent. So who has the record for the most receiving touchdowns in the playoffs? Is it A, Randy Moss, B, Jerry Rice, or C, Antonio Freeman?
Jerry Rice.
That is correct. Nicely done. Jerry Rice, 22. Randy Moss with 10, Antonio Freeman also with 10. And those are just, Freeman and Moss are farther down the list. There's other ones closer, but still, Jerry Rice, I think, has got, 9 or 10 more than the next guy on the list. It's absolutely incredible, honestly. But Jerry Rice, didn't he have a multi-touchdown Super Bowl, too, at one point? Didn't he get 5 or 6 in a touchdown?
He had 3.
3, that's what it was, yeah.
Well, yeah, when they beat the Broncos 55-10 in that Super Bowl in New Orleans, everyone,
boy.
I think Eddie DeBartolo actually scored a touchdown at the end of that game. So.
You get a touchdown. You get a touchdown.
Everyone gets a touchdown.
I love it.
Well, we're heading to a break, but when we come back, we'll play another new game. Don't go away. You're listening to What's the Score, the Sports News Quiz.
There's a moment in your bones when the fire takes over. Blood is running, heart is pumping as the battle gets closer. They can say what they want now.
Hey, What's the Score fans? This is Chris Christofko from TitletownSoundoff.com.
And I'm the guy they call Bobo, and we want to tell you a little bit about what our podcast, Titletown Sound, has to offer.
Titletown Sound is about everything related to the 13-time world champions of football, the Green Bay Packers. We talk about the games, the players, the coaches, the controversies, breaking news, rumors, and all the ups and downs that come with the unpredictable NFL season. We also love to interact with our fans every week. Even if you don't like football, you may still love our podcast. We have a lot of entertainment value mixed in with our informative takes on the Packers.
You just read all the lines, Chris. I mean, you read your lines and then you read all of
You
mine.
can find us on iTunes and at our website, TitletownSoundoff.com, where you can also find our opinions and learn about our personal stories and interactions with members of the Green Bay Packers.
What are you doing?
The other guys on the show asked me to keep you from saying too much in the commercial.
James and Jeremy asked you to do that?
No, actually, Baxter and Josh asked me.
Oh.
I mean, this is an important commercial spot, and, well, your biggest contribution on the show to date is quoting Avril Lavigne songs.
Okay. Well, that's a valid point.
Give us a try. What could it hurt? Titletown Sound on TitletownSoundoff.com.
It's not complicated.
Don't do that.
Oh, sorry. Force of habit.
Hello all and welcome back to the Attention Era Media Studios in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. This is What's the Score, the Sports News Quiz. I'm Josh Scheibe, your game master. We have a great panel here today. It's Scott Wisniewski, Dan Pfeifer, and Ian DeMarse, and they'll have the opportunity to show their prowess in just a little bit. Before that, though, here's the host of What's the Score, Baxter Colburn.
Thanks, Josh. Thank you, everybody. Coming up, we put our panelists to the test in our Left's Lucky Town Name 5 panelist showdown. If you would like to play our games on the air, visit our website, WTSSportsQuiz.com, and sign up today.
Joining us on the phone to play our next game is Eric Condia. Welcome to the show, Eric.
Hey, glad to be here.
Glad to have you back on the show, Eric. It's been a long time. How's the weather out there in sunny California?
Oh, it's a little gray skies, but still no negative degree weather, so
it's a win for all parties, I guess, in that regards. I love it. All right, Eric. Well, sometimes making the playoffs is not all it's cracked up to be. You get a chance to make history for your city, but then fall flat on your face or surprise everyone altogether. Either way, it can make a whole franchise say, whoa.
In this game, which we're calling Playoff Woes, we'll give you 5 questions about some of the top whoa moments in NFL playoff history. Answer it at least 3 out of 5 correctly, and you'll win a What's the Score prize. If you need help, you can ask one of our panelists for a hint, but on only one question, so make sure you choose wisely. Are you ready to play?
Sounds good.
Yeah. Here's your first question. In the NFC, every single team has made it to the NFC Championship game. Only one has never won it. Which team would that be? Would it be A, the Detroit Lions, B, the Washington Redskins, or C, the Atlanta Falcons?
The Detroit Lions?
That is correct, yes.
Yes.
When in doubt, go with the worst franchise listed because you're not going to be wrong. The Detroit Lions have never... I didn't realize that every single team had made it to the NFC Championship game. That's remarkable. When were the Lions there? I don't remember that. Was that the Barry Sanders year?
Yeah, 1990, if I'm not mistaken, and I believe they lost to answer B, Washington.
Back in the day. That makes sense. All right, here is your next one, Eric.
In the NFL, every single team has been to their conference title championship except for one. Which team would that be? Is it A, the Tennessee Titans, B, the Houston Texans, or C, the Cleveland Browns?
Can you repeat the question again one more time?
Sure. In the NFL, every single team has been to their conference title championship except for one. Which team would that be? Is it A, the Tennessee Titans, B, the Houston Texans, or C, the Cleveland Browns?
I feel like this might be obvious, but I want to say that the Browns?
No, that's incorrect, unfortunately.
No.
The Houston Texans have never been to a conference championship game.
The Browns lost back-to-back AFC championship games to the Denver Broncos.
The drive and the fumble.
Classic. It's all right. You still got plenty of time. All right, here's your next one, Eric. In the history of the NFL, there is only one team that has reached both the NFC and the AFC championship game. Which team would that be? Is it A, the Cleveland Browns, B, the Indianapolis Colts, or C, the Seattle Seahawks?
I want to say it's probably the...
You do have a hint if you want to...
Oh, wait, hold on. I'll use the hint. I'll use the hint.
Okay, okay. Who would you like to talk to, Dan, Ian, or Scott?
Oh, Ian.
Yes, all right.
Good to hear from you, Eric. Here's your hint.
Oh, Ian.
Missing you, man. All right.
What do you got for a hint for us?
Here's your hint.
The bro moment's over anyway.
This team's known for two things, the 12th man and the Fail Mary.
Oh, okay. The Seattle Seahawks.
Yes, that is correct. Nicely done. Yeah, back when it was when you had the NFC Central or whatever it was, when the Packers, where there was 5 teams in there. That's right. Seattle was part of the NFC, and then when Houston came over, that's when the whole thing switched, right?
Yeah, Seattle was an AFC team since their inception until they made the switch. That was Dave Craig to Steve Largent was the last time they were named.
Now, it is worth noting the Indianapolis Colts were a part of the NFL, but when the merger happened, they went over to the AFC. So while they had been in some NFL championship games prior to, they had not been in an NFC championship game.
More
on a technicality, the question is correct.
There we go. All right, Josh, next one here for Eric, right?
Yep. Which team had the longest playoff drought in NFL history, which went from 1947 to 1998? Was it A, the Detroit Lions, B, the Cleveland Browns, or C, the Arizona Cardinals?
No, I want to say this is the obvious one. I'll go back-to-back Cleveland Brown answers. Cleveland Browns.
No, that is incorrect, unfortunately. The Arizona Cardinals. The Browns were actually decent for a stretch in there with Jim Brown, believe it or not.
I didn't even think the Cardinals were a team for that long. Holy cow.
Yeah, Chicago, St. Louis, and then Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, that's right. There was multi-franchises with the Cardinals' name, I guess, overall.
Yeah, you have to go back to when they played at Comiskey Park on the south side of Chicago with bad Leroy Brown to get back to their last playoff win before 98, yeah.
And though I'm old, that was before my time. Chicago phase was before my time.
All right, Eric, here's your last question. Which team lost 4 straight Super Bowls? Was it A, the Cleveland Browns, B, the Buffalo Bills, or C, the Minnesota Vikings?
4 straight Super Bowls.
4 straight.
Now, I remember watching something on NFL history. I think it's the Buffalo Bills.
That is correct, yes. Nicely done. Game Master Scheibe, how did Eric do on our game?
Eric got 3 out of 5 correct.
Hey!
He's the winner!
Way to go, Eric. Thanks so much for playing, sir. We appreciate it.
All right, panel, it's time for some more questions related to the NFL playoffs.
All right, Dan, we'll start with you. The playoffs are not always about winning. Some people have to lose. That's the nature of it, of course. So, who is the team that has lost the most NFL playoff games? Is it A, the Dallas Cowboys, B, the Giants, or C, the Minnesota Vikings?
To have lost the most playoff games, you've had to gotten to a lot of playoff games.
Also very true, yes.
We had that question before where we said the Dallas Cowboys had the most wins. I'm going to say they had the most losses, too.
That's incorrect. No, unfortunately. The Vikings. When in doubt, choose the Vikings. 27 times they have lost in the playoffs. The next in line would be the LA St. Louis Rams at 25. And the Giants just acquired their 25th loss 2 weeks ago on the wild card of the Packers. So, interesting to note in that regards.
All right, Scott, the next one's for you. What franchise has participated in the most postseason games? Is it A, the Dallas Cowboys, B, the Green Bay Packers, or C, the New York Giants?
And a hush.
Wow. I'm going to say the Dallas Cowboys.
That is incorrect, unfortunately. No, the New York Giants, actually. 32 times. 33, technically, I guess, this season. Dallas, 32. Yes, it's very interesting to note the Dallas 32 times. Green Bay has been to the playoffs now 30 times as well, too. But the Giants have been there the most.
So how many losses did the Giants have?
The Giants have lost 25
Wow,
times
they're
in the
terrible.
playoffs.
And yet they've got 2 Super Bowls
They put
in the
it
last
together.
decade.
They put it together those years.
Well, and keep in mind, too, the Cowboys only came about really in the
1960s?
Yeah, that's when they started up, whereas the Giants and the Packers met a lot of times for NFL championships back in the 1930s. Right. So you go back that far, and there's that extra bit of history there when they would only have an NFL championship game. They wouldn't have any other playoffs, but they were still in the playoffs a lot.
I'm still scarred by the 70s and 80s Packers not making the playoffs. I guess that kind of affects me.
Yeah, not fun at all.
Let's not talk about those.
Exactly.
Too soon.
Ian, question for you. What NFL player holds the record for the most interceptions caught in a game? So this player made the most interceptions. Is A, Joe Laws, pardon me, B, Veron Perry, or C, Ty Law?
I'm going to say Ty Law.
That is incorrect. No, unfortunately. Vernon Perry had 4 in a game. Both Laws and Law had 3 each, actually. But Veron Perry played for the Giants, I do believe, back in the day. So very interesting. I had never honestly heard of Veron Perry, but it was funny. You look at the list of the all-time players that are on this list, and there's really nobody notable on that list. Regardless of all the great defensive backs that have come through, I think players realize come playoff time to not throw the ball in those people's directions. Kind of interesting, kind of surprising in that regards, I guess.
Well, it's just about time for another break, but before we go, I want to note that Ian gets another panelist point for that successful hint in the game with Eric.
Hey, way to go.
And don't worry, everyone, we'll be right back, and our panelists will have yet another chance to talk about the NFL playoffs. Don't go away. You're listening to What's the Score, the Sports News Quiz.
Hey guys, this is Baxter. I want to take a quick minute to let you know that we've changed a couple of things here at What's the Score. The show will no longer be broadcast live on Sunday afternoon or evenings anymore. Instead, you can find the show every Monday morning on demand, right at your fingertips at 8 a.m. Central Time. Go and download it on iTunes, visit us on Spreaker.com, or go to our website, WTSSportsQuiz.com, to get the most recent show and past shows as well. It's the best way to keep in touch with everything that What's the Score is doing. So once again, no more live shows, but go and download it, iTunes, Spreaker.com, and What's the Score, WTSSportsQuiz.com.
Welcome back to What's the Score, the Sports News Quiz, and thanks for listening. We're broadcasting from the Attention Era Media Studios in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm your game master, Josh Scheibe, and we're playing this week with Dan Pfeifer, Ian DeMarse, and Scott Wisniewski. And here, once again, is your host of What's the Score, Baxter Colburn.
Thanks, Josh. Thanks, everyone. As we continue on with our show, we want to remind all of you that you can catch the show on demand by going to Spreaker, iTunes, Stitcher, and the Sports Podcasting Network as well.
It's time for our last slate of NFL playoff questions for our panelists this week. Scott, the first one's for you. Who holds the NFL playoff record for most passes intercepted throughout their career? Who threw the most interceptions? Is it A, Jim Kelly, B, Terry Bradshaw, or C, Brett Favre?
Ooh, boy. There's 2. Oh, wow. Brett Favre.
That is correct, yes.
The St. Louis game alone.
I was going to say in 2000.
6 in that game.
Yeah.
St. Louis
But
game.
Bradshaw threw his fair share as well.
He did. I didn't realize, too, just to kind of go off of that St. Louis game, that there are Favre is one of 4 players to throw 6 interceptions in a playoff game.
Oh, wow.
That's insane. I did not realize that one until I was doing research for this. I was like, are you kidding?
Wow. You wonder if Brett did not take as many risks as he did that game, the Giants championship game, so on and so forth. How many would the Packers potentially have won?
A couple more rings.
And I don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole. For another show, I'll tell you why Joe Namath was the most overrated quarterback in NFL.
Broadway Joe.
We'll debate that.
Is it because of the way he dressed?
Might be. The fuzzy coat. Did you never get a fuzzy coat as a child? Come on. But just so people know, Favre had 30 interceptions. Jim Kelly had 30. Bradshaw had 26.
Jim Kelly had 28, right?
28, pardon me, yes, and Bradshaw had 26. All right, Ian, question over for you. Who holds the record for the longest kickoff return in NFL NFL history? Is it A, Jacoby Jones, B, Eric Weems, or C, Tridon Holiday?
I'm pretty sure this was in the Super Bowl a few years ago, so Jacoby Jones?
That is correct. Yes, nicely done. All three gentlemen have returned touchdowns back on kickoffs. Holiday took a 104-yarder, and Weems took a 102-yarder back in the day. But yes, Jacoby Jones, there cannot be, to my knowledge, a longer kickoff return. People can tie him now, but maybe 109, but you really have to be trying if you're going to like tiptoe on the back of the end zone and then whoosh, fly up after that. But 8 yards deep, and then all of a sudden realize, I'm gonna take this back. Why not? But it was an ultimate game changer. I feel like for Baltimore in that Super Bowl against the 49ers. But wasn't that right after the power went out too?
That was right before.
Right before the power. Yeah. That's why. You just shut the power down. And be like, that's it. We're done. We ran right out of the building, basically.
All right, Dan. Forget the running backs. What quarterback leads the NFL in playoff rushing touchdowns? Is it A, Steve Young, B, Tom Brady, or C, Michael Vick?
Let's see here. Steve Young obviously had a few legendary ones. Michael Vick was known to run the ball pretty well. You said Tom Brady in there,
Tom Brady.
too?
Just to clarify, all of these guys have rushed for touchdowns in the playoffs, just so you're not wondering.
Sense.
Yes, yep.
Let's see here. I am going to go with Steve Young.
That is correct. Yes, nicely done. Steve Young has eight playoff rushing touchdowns. Tom Brady has 6. And Michael Vick has 1. I just threw Michael Vick in there for
Tom Brady is what some people consider the best quarterback sneak touchdown guy of all time.
5 of those are sneaks.
Yeah.
I was going to say, that's all, yeah. He's got a rushing, average of about a half a yard, basically.
You see the clip on NFL Films every once in a while of the Steve Young touchdown run against the Minnesota Vikings. Not in the playoffs, I don't believe, where he's stumbling to the end zone and he escapes, I think, all 11 Vikings. One of the best touchdown runs you'll ever see.
Absolutely. Just an incredible time.
Well, folks, it's time for me to break up the fun once again. But when we come back, our final contestant will play another one of our new games. Don't go away. You're listening to What's the Score? The Sports News Quiz.
Hey guys, this is Baxter Colburn. Just want to take a quick minute to remind all of you to go check us out on social media. You can go find us on Facebook by searching for What's the Score? The Sports News Quiz. And while you're on our Facebook page, why not invite some of your friends to come like our Facebook page as well? You can go and check out all the great recordings that we do, behind-the-scenes pictures. You can see the different videos we do with a lot of our panelists as well, and just get to know What's the Score a little bit better as well. Also, go check us out on Twitter at WTS Sports Quiz and at WTS Sports Quiz on Instagram as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the 3 most powerful things on the social media spectrum right now, and What's the Score is on all of them. Go and check us out today.
Welcome back, everyone. This is What's the Score? The Sports News Quiz. I'm Josh Scheibe, your game master. Our Left's Lucky Town Name 5 panelist showdown is coming up. But first, we have a new game called This One's for the Kickers, probably Baxter's favorite game. Here to get the game going is your host at the Attention Era Media Studios here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's Baxter Colburn.
Thank you, Josh. Thanks, everyone. Just a reminder, go check out our website, WTSSportsQuiz.com. You can find who tops our panelist leaderboard, past episodes, and our upcoming broadcast schedule as well.
Time now to welcome in our last contestant. Playing our final game is Logan Emery. Welcome to the show, Logan.
How's it going, Baxter? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, Logan. So as you probably know, Logan, kickers in the NFL are traditionally accurate, consistent, and trustworthy. Sometimes, though, things don't go as planned, while others, kicks don't go through the uprights. It's kind of crazy. Logan's in an airport, for all those that are wondering. But
Well, in this game, which we're calling This One's for the Kickers, we'll ask you 5 questions related to kickers in the NFL playoffs. Answer at least 3 correctly, and you'll win a What's the Score prize. If you get stuck, you can ask one panelist for a hint, but on only one question, so make sure you choose wisely. Are you ready to play?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, here is your first question. Automatic Adam and Iceman are just two of the nicknames given to what kicker that converted game-winning field goals in Super Bowl 36 and 38? Is it A, Sebastian Janikowski, B, Adam Vinatieri, or C, Adam Longwell?
Yeah, it's B.
That is correct, Adam Vinatieri. All right, here is your next one.
With seconds ticking away, what Minnesota Vikings kicker missed a game-winning field goal in 2015 against the Seahawks? Was it A, Nick Novak, B, Stephen Hauschka, or C, Blair Walsh?
That's C.
That is correct, Blair Walsh. All right, here's your third one. Back in 1998, this Vikings kicker... Sorry, it seems to be a reoccurring theme. This Vikings team was a field goal away from the Super Bowl until what kicker missed? Was it A, Morton Anderson, B, Ryan Longwell, or C, Gary Anderson?
I'm going to need some help from this one.
Okay, would you like to ask Dan, Ian, or Scott for a hint?
Let's go with Scott.
All right, Scott, how can you help out Logan?
Okay, this gentleman's name is not Morton or Ryan.
It's about as straightforward as you can get. I don't know if that's a legal hint. Holy cow.
I don't know either, but I like it. That makes it pretty easy, right?
It usually does, yeah. So who would we be looking for then?
Can you read the options again?
Yeah, so you had Morton Anderson, Ryan Longwell, or Gary Anderson.
Let's go with Gary.
Yeah, Gary Anderson.
My other hint would have been he's named after the worst city in Indiana.
Oh, that wouldn't have been the worst idea.
so-
I'm tempted to give you an additional point just for the guts to even try that.
That would have been interesting.
In your business, that's called a heel turn, Scott.
All right, Logan, here is your next one.
What kicker leads the NFL playoff history books with the most field goals made with 56? Is it A, Mason Crosby, B, Chris Jackie, or A, Adam Vinatieri?
Let's go with Adam Vinatieri.
That is correct, yes. 56 in the playoffs. Holy cow. He is just by far... I forget that he has 4 Super Bowl rings as well, too. He is just an absolutely...
He's unbelievable.
All right, here is your last one, Logan. With a booming distance of 58 yards, which kicker holds the record for the longest made field goal in playoff history? Is it A, Pete Stoyanovich, B, David Akers, or C, Matt Prater?
For some reason, I want to say B.
B, David Akers?
Yes, that's my final answer.
That is incorrect, unfortunately. It was A, Pete Stoyanovich, back in 1991, I believe. Was it with or against the Cardinals? I forget which one it was.
Okay.
It would have been against.
I think it was against the Cardinals.
Because he kicked for the Dolphins and the Chiefs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I think you're right, back in the day, yes. 58 yards. Unbelievable. Game Master Scheibe, how did Logan do on our game?
Logan got 4 out of 5 correct.
Right.
He's a winner.
Way to go, Logan. Good luck catching your plane, sir.
And before we move on, I want to note that Scott gets an additional point for that successful hint.
Way to go, Scott. Nicely done. Keeping things close as we get to that Name 5 panelist showdown.
The moment you've all been waiting for is almost here. Stick around and listen to our panelists duke it out on the... Let me try that one more time. Sorry, folks. The moment you've been waiting for is almost here. Stick around and listen to our panelists duke it out on the Left's Lucky Town Name 5 panelist showdown, coming up right after the break. Don't go away. You're listening to What's the Score? The Sports News Quiz. Hello all, I'm Josh Scheibe, your game master here at What's the Score? The Sports News Quiz. Thanks for listening in. I may not know much about sports, but what I do know about are our social media pages. Check us out on Facebook at What's the Score, or Twitter and Instagram at WTS Sports Quiz. Thanks very much for listening.
Hey everybody, this is Baxter. Just want to take a quick minute to thank you for listening to today's show. One of the things that we love to do on What's the Score is tell you to go check out our website, which is true. We wouldn't tell you if you didn't think it was great. You can find all kinds of great information by heading over to WTSSportsQuiz.com. You can find who tops our current panelist leaderboard. You can find archive shows, other great places of where to listen to What's the Score, and of course get to meet the awesome staff that makes Game Master Scheibe and I's job so much easier each and every week. Head over to WTSSportsQuiz.com today and check it out.
Hello and welcome back. Thanks for listening to What's the Score, the Sports News Quiz. I'm your game master, Josh Scheibe. Our panelists have been warming up for their final showdown. While they do, here's your host at the Attention Era Media Studios in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Baxter Colburn.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, everybody. We've had a fantastic show so far today. If you would like to join us on the air, we encourage you to go to our website, WTSSportsQuiz.com, and sign up to play one of our games today. With all that being said, Game Master Shabby, what time is it, sir?
It's time for the Left's Lucky Town Name 5 Panelist Showdown. Our panelists will be given 4 topics in which they will have 10 seconds to name 5 people, teams, places, or things related to the sports world. Each panelist will have the same category. However, they cannot repeat answers. 1 point is awarded for each correct answer.
Game Master Scheibe, can you give us the scores, please?
I can. Dan is in third with 1 point, Scott's in second with 3, and Ian's in the lead with 4.
My goodness. Dan has 1?
It's been a rough day.
Because he had a bad day. Anyway. All right, so the way this is going to work, I'll just let you guys know we made this change on the show last week. For the final round, there's no more as many as you can. It's just you get 10 seconds to name 5, okay? So you're trying to go for as close to perfect as you can. Dan, you will be leading us off with round number 1. You'll be naming 5 wide receivers that were in this year's NFL playoffs. Okay, 10 seconds, and begin.
Jordy Nelson, Geronimo Allison, let's see here, Des Bryant, why am I drawing a blank?
We got 3 for Dan on that one. Okay. All right, over to you, Ian. 10 seconds, and begin, sir.
Randall Cobb, Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins, Will Fuller, Cole Beasley.
There we go. He got 5. Nicely done. All right, Scott, over to you. 10 seconds, and begin.
Julian Edelman, Julio Jones, Michael Floyd, Williams, I can't remember his name. From Dallas.
Ooh,
got
only
stuck
3.
on a first name.
Terrence Williams is who you were looking for.
Should have just passed. Seriously, I had the other ones all lined up.
Oh, my goodness. All right, round number 2, we'll start with you, Ian. You're going to be naming 5 quarterbacks that have won a playoff game.
Okay.
10 seconds, and begin.
Aaron Rodgers, Brock Osweiler, Tom Brady, Tony Romo, and Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, that is correct. Nicely done. He got all 5. Way to go, way to go. Forgot that Brock won a playoff game.
Just one.
Are we talking 5 quarterbacks all time that have won playoff games?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just got to win a playoff game.
I just had to clarify.
Yeah. No, not this year, obviously. There's not been that many games. Scott, over you. 10 seconds, and go.
Phil Simms, Joe Theismann, Joe Montana, John Elway, and Dan Marino.
There we go. 5 as well. Nicely done. All right, Dan, 10 seconds for you, and go.
Jim Kelly, Frank Reich, Roger Staubach, Brett Favre, and Trent Dilfer.
There we go. 5. Nicely done. Good old Trent Dilfer. Who can forget Trent? I can. All right, round 3. Scott, over to you. Name 5 defensive players that were in this year's NFL playoffs, okay? 10 seconds, and begin.
Clay Matthews, Quentin Rollins, Nick Perry, Sean Lee, and that's 4.
4
struggling today.
Scott. My goodness. Tides might be turning a little bit, Game Master. Dan, over to you. 10 seconds, and go.
I'm going to say Clinton Dix, Clay Matthews, and then it's going to be a struggle from there. Terrell Suggs, no. Willie McGinnis, no.
Mean Joe Green, no. Ray Nitschke, no.
Yeah.
All right, so 1 for Dan. On that
because Scott said Clay Matthews.
Yes, he did. Oof. All right, Ian, over to you. 10 seconds, and go.
Whitney Merciless, Jadeveon Clowney, Rob Ninkovich, Michael Bennett, Richard Sherman.
5. There we go for Ian. He is coming out hot today. Woo! All right, as we head into the final round, Game Master Scheibe, what are the scores, sir?
Dan's in third with 10 points, Scott's in second with 15, and Ian's in the lead with 19.
Oh, my goodness. All right. So, Dan, you will be leading us off. Unfortunately, you have been eliminated from winning this week, so I'm sorry about
Makes
that.
sense.
So,
play for some pride.
You will. So you have a chance to play spoiler here. So the way our last round works, you get 10 seconds to name 5, of course, as we continue to go along. Your final round will be cities that have hosted a Super Bowl. cities that have hosted a Super Bowl. 10 seconds and go.
Miami, New Orleans, Minneapolis, Detroit, and East Rutherford, New Jersey.
Yes, that is correct. Nicely done. As
I
opposed
could have gone on
South.
from there. Oh, well.
Sorry. All right. Scott is in second place. All right. So Scott needs how many?
Scott needs, 4 to tie and 5 to go ahead.
Okie dokie, Scott. 10 seconds and begin.
Houston, Jacksonville, New York, Los Angeles, Tampa Bay, Miami.
There we go. He got 5 on that one. Yeah, Miami was already said by Dan, but you got 5.
And New York.
Oh, that's right. Oh, anything else?
Wait, I can still go then. No.
No, nothing else? Okay, so he got 4 out of that one. Okay,
because
so
I was going to say San Francisco, but it was really a different city.
Fair enough. Santa Clara, right? Technically is what it is.
Well,
okay.
they did host one at
Candlestick?
Yeah.
No, at Stanford Stadium.
Stanford Stadium, yeah,
which was, but I think that's in Santa Clara, too.
All right, Game Master Shabby, what is Ian looking at?
Well, Ian and Scott are tied right now, both at 19.
Okay, Ian, so you know what you got to do. 10 seconds. Cities that have hosted a Super Bowl. And begin, sir.
San Diego, I believe, is one. Detroit. I think I got one already, so I think I'm good.
That's about all you needed, yeah.
Yeah,
so,
thank you.
Anything else you want to say? There we go.
Too late.
I'm just thinking back. If I would have gotten one more, this would have been tough. We would have ended up tied. Because I think after that, we're pretty much fresh out of cities.
I think you're right about that. Yeah, there was, just enough. Game Master Shabby, what are the final scores on our Left's Lucky Town Name 5 panelist showdown this week?
The final scores are Dan in third with 15 points, Scott in second with 19, and Ian's the big winner with 20 points.
Hey! Congratulations, Ian.
Thank you, Baxter.
Absolutely incredible. A hard-fought battle, a heavyweight bout to the very end. Unbelievable.
I'm just going to say I'm ready to come back and try to reclaim a victory. I can't wait. And it was great to be here for number 50. By the way, the Admiral Dave Robinson wore number 50. And Flash in the Pan Cy Young Award winner Pete Vukovich, also number 50.
Pete who?
For the Milwaukee Brewers, yeah.
I believe he's called Clu Haywood, actually, since that's the role he played in Major League.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, yeah, Scott, that's your first loss ever. And what's the score?
I'll be all right. I'll come back. I'll look at the film. And I'll be ready.
Study hard. See where you made mistakes. See where you can exploit the weaknesses next time.
Your pad level was too high.
It was. I'm going to drive across and through, not come up not like the arm tackles like the Packers do so often. Dan, I believe this is your 6th time you have not won.
Correct, and it's the first time that I have been at the very bottom, actually. Yeah, a lot of first and seconds, but not third. But when you throw me up against a guy who had never lost in Scott Wisniewski, who had never taken anything other than first, and I think Ian's record is up to what?
9 now. I think this is his 9th total victory.
Crazy competition today. It was an honor just to be in the presence of these two great sports minds, and it was a lot of fun. Love talking NFL playoffs.
Absolutely, and Ian, obviously, congratulations to you, sir, on your 9th victory.
Wow,
my goodness,
almost pushing double digits.
You're almost pushing double digits. I think you have now a healthy, 5 or 6 point lead now on Mr. Pfeifer.
That's good.
On top of the panelist leaderboard now. So.
I know this was going to be tough. I know Dan's a tough competition, and I lost to Scott earlier. Embarrassing.
Scott came. That was Scott's first show. Scott came out of the gate.
He beat me pretty bad, so I was coming
out
out for vengeance, and I was glad I was able to get that San Diego answer.
That's right. Hey, good job, man.
They'll always remember San Diego now.
They'll never host another one again.
They won't. So they still helped you win. That's all that matters. Well, we appreciate all 3 of you for being on. What's the Score has been a production of Attention Era Media. Very special thanks to our contestants and studio audience here at the Attention Era Media Studios.
Our panelists this week have been Scott Wisniewski, Ian DeMarse, and Dan Pfeifer.
Our social media director is Tony Larson, and our marketing director is Emily Heffler.
Our show writers were David Bobke, Caleb Pearson, and Baxter Colburn.
Our theme was composed by Danny Hoffenstein. Our show producers were Caleb Pearson and David Bobke, and the executive director of What's the Score is Liz Colburn.
I've been your game master, Josh Scheibe.
And I've been your host, Baxter Colburn. Thanks for joining us for our 50th episode. We'll see you for 50 more next time on What's the Score.